What makes you think that I ate one of them?
Because I think I ordered 2 pecans and 1 dark chocolate.
You didn't.
What's up, my guys, and welcome to the Make Me a Sandwich podcast. What's up, my guys, and welcome to the Make Me a Sandwich podcast, where unfortunately we do not have a sandwich tonight.
No, just an assortment, as you would say.
An assortment of chocolates that look delicious that I'm going to eat any second now. And can you please tell them that I am a good cook? I just don't really make sandwiches. Mm-hmm. What did you have for dinner?
I had homemade Mongolian beef.
What girlfriend's making homemade Mongolian beef from scratch?
Is it from scratch?
It's from scratch.
You didn't carve the cow.
Okay, I didn't raise the cow.
Yeah.
But basically it's from scratch.
All I'm saying is you could be better.
The sauce is from scratch. Everything's from scratch.
All I'm saying is you couldn't have done it without me tonight.
What did you do? You put the salt in the water.
I had to put the salt in the water. I put the cornstarch in.
All right, let's get into it. So I had a message. I'm going to read it to you guys. It says, just followed you, but a genuine question. It upsets me to hear a lot of red pillers say that the women should be okay with her man cheating. I do agree to a lot of things that these people say, but definitely not this one. I absolutely adore you. So wanted to know if you agree with this opinion. And it kind of got me started down the train of thought.
Okay.
This is why I don't do long form.
It's good to know that you're thinking.
Yeah. About all of these alpha male red pill influencers, which I won't name names. I have a lot of respect for all of them because I think they point out really important things, but I don't know if they have the right solutions. And I want to talk about that today because we kind of discussed this a little, and I have some bones to pick. I don't think at the end of the day, their message is helping men live a fulfilled life. I feel like their whole message is game and how to get the girl and how to get a bunch of girls and how to get all these girls. And all of their videos is them with another girl. And at the end of the day, that's not leading men to a fulfilled life. We're here, we preach the nuclear family, we preach children. And all of these guys do. None of these guys, they're all like in their 30s and 40s. None of them are settled down except for like the Rollo Tomasi, like he's settled down. Mm-hmm. But a lot of these like Instagram guys that have huge followings, that are on these huge podcasts, I don't know how they're going to find fulfillment.
Well,
and also they're perpetuating hookup culture in that all of these girls, they're showing women that it's okay to be hooking up with everybody by taking part in it. Like, why are you complaining about how women are acting when you're with a different woman?
When you're engaging in the activity that you're complaining about. I think that a lot of them would argue back that, I've heard like the whole candy store analogy. Have you heard this one? Mm-mm. The candy store analogy is one that I believe, I can't remember if it was Rich Cooper, Rollo, or Fresh and Fit. Myron talks about this a lot, where he basically says women are just born in a candy store. They're born. Like everything is an option to them. So literally you are born, you have value, you are able to pick from all the candy that you want. And at a certain point you're just like, yeah, but like, whatever, it's like a candy store. But then men aren't allowed into that candy store until they reach a certain age, a certain amount of income, a certain degree of attractiveness. Sometimes for a lot of men, it's a certain type of height. And only once they become that men do they enter into this candy store that they've seen women walking into their entire lives. And now they're in there and they're like, finally, I have candy. So now all the men who watched these girls ignore them for the longest time and only date the man who this guy has now just become are into the mindset of, listen, like, you want me now? You could have had me back then. If you want me now, you're going to have to share me for now because I don't know which one of you I want yet. So if you just think about it from the perspective of those guys, there is something to be said for a man who finally has a degree of abundance and wants to explore. But the real question comes down to the discipline of who you actually decide to sleep with versus date. And
but that's a problem.
But I would like to sit down. Because I don't want to jump to conclusions about exactly what these guys think or why they think it until I actually talk to them, because I would love to hear what their actual thoughts are on every time you sleep with a girl, what are you thinking? What is the morality behind you deciding to sleep with a girl who just wants to sleep with you?
Yeah, and also, aren't you creating a culture of unpure women by doing that? Like, how are women going to learn that that is not what is desirable to a man if every woman you meet, you're sleeping with?
That they would probably argue back that that woman is already not pure, and therefore it doesn't matter.
Yes, but something starts that downfall. And what if you're the start of it? Aren't you perpetuating the culture?
Well, if you're the start of it, I think that's something. I told you a story about when I was in college. There was a girl that I was like that I had met and was kind of seeing, and then I found out that she was a virgin, and I was like, I'm not even gonna date this girl. Like, I don't want to do that because I know that right now, where I'm at in my particular life, I am not like taking a girl's virginity and having that sort of, not take that responsibility, but put her in a situation where she's going to give up this like very, very precious thing to someone who's not going to have that.
In my college years, I didn't realize that that wasn't desirable to a man when a girl has had
No, go ahead, continue.
I don't feel like that was something that was talked about because we were in the whole like sexual liberation of women phase, and nobody ever brought up that that's not going to land you a marriage. But now we're talking about it, so women are aware that like.
I actually don't think it's necessary. What you just said, though, I don't think is men's fault.
I'm not blaming men for it. I'm blaming everybody for not having the conversation.
Well, again, if we really,
and at the end of the day, I blame women for it, for feminism and sexual liberation.
Right. So I want to, if we really want to go root cause here, we could like everything from like the birth control pill, that biggest thing. And I don't want to have this be our grandstand about you being off the pill and all that. So I don't want that to be this, but like birth control pill.
But where did we lose the message that like actually you're not attractive to a man if you take part in all this?
It's
because the message was lost somewhere.
I don't even know if that message. Well, first of all, I think that message probably did die with Christianity. I think when Christianity died in this country, which it has been dead for a while in a lot of parts of the world. So, death of Christianity almost certainly is the arrival of hedonistic activity, like not satanic, but the devil's deeds, right? Mm-hmm. Unmeaningful, pleasurable activity, giving in to your pleasures. So I think that's a huge thing. Christianity started to die. So whenever that happened, and I'm not a historian, so I wouldn't know exactly when that occurred. That was probably a huge part of it. But then you have feminism, you have the pill, and then you have like our mothers growing up in an era where they didn't have to worry about every single time I sleep with somebody, I could have a baby put inside me. So it wasn't that there was a conversation being had with them, or their grandmothers for that matter, that was sex is the most meaningful thing and men are going to want you more if you're pure. Women were just naturally more pure because women were naturally more cautious. That's the reason why it happened. And then all of these, call them technologies, right? The pill is a technology by definition. All of them come in and I should say, all of these technologies come into existence and all of a sudden we don't even know how to operate with them. It's the same thing as social media. We didn't know how to deal with social media when it first arrived. We're only now just sort of curating the skills on how to use social media. This is long after like people didn't even know how to curate this new access to safe sex. So it's a culmination of a lot of things. And I've said this for the longest time. I don't give women a pass because they still have to have accountability for whatever happened in their past. But I do kind of give women a little bit of a benefit of the doubt if you're probably up to the age of maybe like 24, 25, 26, because once you get to that, if you're that age right now, you fell victim to the most crazy, hedonistic, era where social media just gave you access to all of these different things. Everything became hypersexualized. All the hypersexualized things went crazy viral. And only just now, like post-Trump, post-third wave feminism, are people finally waking up after like the Red Pill documentary and things like that to be like, nope, there are a lot of things that a lot of people are preaching that a lot of people disagree with.
That's what I'm saying. The conversation is happening now, which is why I feel like now you should be held accountable to change your ways.
I would agree.
And I think women are now aware that this is not what men want.
Well, they're aware that a lot of men don't want it. I think there are a lot of men who are trying to convince themselves that they don't care.
In my era of college, women truly thought that men wanted a woman with experience.
I would agree with that. I think there are a lot of. I mean, you hear this with. And again, I'm not calling out names to throw stones or anything. Fresh and Fit had their live podcast, and Melina, Destiny's Girl, was on that podcast, and she was saying, "Don't you want like why would you want a virgin? Like, don't you want a woman who's like experienced? Like, don't you want someone who's going to be fun?" And two responses to that: one, no.
So good.
Like, first of all, no, not necessarily, and two, what does it actually mean to be sexually experienced? You and I have talked about this before. You don't gain experience by having a bunch of one-offs with a bunch of random people.
This is exactly what I said to Destiny on the Whatever podcast.
Like you develop experience by having a lot of sex, usually in a controlled environment with one person.
That's what I said to him. I said sex gets better when you have it with one person. I said I said, don't you agree that sex gets better? What did I say? When you have sex with the same person, and he agreed, and I was like, well, then why is she not enough?
Right. And
because the first time you have sex with somebody is not going to be as good as the 40th time you have sex with somebody.
Right.
So why are you having all of these one-off sessions with people that aren't her? Right. His response, well, sometimes I want an Asian woman. Sometimes I want a whatever woman. And I'm like...
And that comes down to... And now we're getting into things like... We're getting into hormones, we're getting into psychology, we're getting into all of these unique things that I kind of understand, but I'd love to talk to like the real experts at some point who really dive into it. I mean, even something as simple as body count. There have been a lot of studies to suggest, well, we've talked about how body count is different for men versus women, just because of the access, the ease of access. Women are giving it away cheaper than men are. Men have to earn it more than women have to. But there's a lot of science and study to back up that higher body counts tend to result in more disloyalty from women than from men. So if a man has a high body count, it doesn't impact his likelihood of cheating on a spouse in the future. But if a woman has a high body count, it does suggest positively.
Is that pair bonding?
So that's the idea, right?
Yeah, women can't pair bond once they pass 10, I think. Or the rate of something goes down once a woman has slept with over 10 people.
Well, rate of divorce goes up.
Yes,
that's what it is. But what I think is interesting about that is that I'm not ready to completely buy into the fact that it doesn't impact men from that pair bonding perspective. First of all, we know that men will naturally, I forget the name of the effect, there's an actual psychological effect where men grow sexually bored of a single partner. That's why this idea of having to spice it up, that kind of thing, it actually does need to occur, because men actually do go through this sort of need for something new. They don't like the same mundane thing over and over again. Are there ways to hack through that? Of course. Are there ways to have a much more pleasurable sexual experience through an emotional bond? Of course. But that is something that impacts men that doesn't necessarily impact women. However, oxytocin is the bonding hormone, and it is very, very present for both parties during sex. So if a man is having a lot of sex with a lot of different women, yes, his like a female orgasm response is very oxytocin heavy, but the fact that there's oxytocin involved at all for a man means that he could fuck up that pathway. So if you're having a lot of oxytocin spike and result in nothing but meaningless relationships, then eventually aren't you also going to lose the ability to pair bond? That's a fascinating question, because if that was off the table, if both men and women were at risk of losing their pair bonding ability, that whole talking point goes out the window. So I do think that there is a lot of stuff within hookup culture that we still don't quite understand the impacts of. I'd love to, at some point, be able to actually sit down and talk to a Dr. Peterson, Dr. Huberman, your new friend, Mr. Patrick Flynn, like talk to these people.
Shout out to Dr. Patrick Flynn.
Yeah, so talk to these people about what's actually occurring hormonally and psychologically during these activities, because I think the two of us and every single person watching this podcast can probably agree.
I feel like we've probably already made people heated.
That hookup culture is not good, right? So we need to figure out how to sort of put the nails in each corner of the board that we're putting up.
I feel like we are making a positive stride in that, what I've said 3 times now, in that now at least people are aware that this might not be a desirable thing.
Right. And again,
and I don't think that conversation was happening before.
And my point earlier about sort of giving women up to a certain age a pass on this is that I'm now fighting for the next generation. Like,
well, now my daughter's going to grow up in a world where it's being discussed that it's not a desirable thing. It wasn't discussed.
Ideal world for like our future daughter is like sex education involves things like natural family planning, and you don't have to take the freaking birth control pill.
Or just abstinence.
Honestly, when I think about this stuff, I think to myself, how is saving sex for marriage just like the ultimate hack?
I think it is.
Like, do we just need to bring that back?
Yes.
Like that has got, if I wasn't raised, and again,
I've actually been having this thought in my head. I haven't talked to you about it, but in terms of like where I want to send my kids to school, we had the homeschooling talk for a while, but I think that does tend to kill social skills, and that's why I think the pod schooling debate was interesting. But now I'm thinking just Catholic school.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it's a little, I don't know. I have thoughts on that too. It's a whole other topic, but I think that there has to be some, I don't want to get into the religion talk. It's going to cause too much of a stir, but I don't know what the answer is to schooling, because I feel like there's so many fuck ups in schooling nowadays.
Yeah. Well,
especially with sex ed.
But when I think about this idea, like I look at like a Ben Shapiro. Mm-hmm. Ben Shapiro was like a hyper successful, very intelligent, early graduate, went to law school, did all these things, high achiever, who was also incredibly well educated, and a devout Jew who decided, I'm going to wait until I meet exactly the right girl who shares all of my values, including the idea of saving herself until marriage, and then I'm going to marry her. And I know that a lot of other guys on podcasts have broken down the Ben Shapiro love story, and
I actually don't know about it.
And well, basically, I think the idea was like he said "I love you," and the first time she said it, she didn't say it back.
Yes.
And then I forget the exact. I'd love to talk to him about it sometime. But basically, he made it crystal clear within like the first couple months. He was like, "I love you," and like I would love to like marry you. He made it crystal clear, like that's what I'd like to do. And they ended up getting together, and I think they have 3 kids now?
I don't know.
I think it's either 2 or 3 kids, and he's hyper successful. She's a doctor. Mm-hmm. Like they're like the ultimate power couple. And all they did was focus every single aspect of their life on their principles, their morality, and sort of their path in life. And once they were on that, from a very young age, they found another person on a very, very similar one and just got married and had a bunch of kids. Is that not the answer? Like, do we just need to bring that back? Or do we need to be, again, hey, like, listen, I know that, look, sex is important, but you're going to need to, you're going to have it, so I want you to at least have it safe. Like, is that the conversation we're going to have? No, absolutely not. I'm not going to be telling my daughter that, hey, I know you're going to be having sex, so make sure you have it safely. I'm not going to be encouraging that.
Our camera cut off, and I just realized that I looked horrible the whole time, so I'm moving my seat.
But anyway,
I have a mosquito bite on my stomach.
Look, I think we solved it. Just religion makes a comeback, and we get rid of the birth control pill.
As Chase says, what does he say? Christ is.
Oh, Christ. Oh, what is it? Christ is king?
I think so.
Is it Christ is king? Whatever. So anyway, let's get off this and move on to the next one.
All right, I just had a lot to say on the red pill people, but I just want to end with, we're all for the red pill movement. We love these guys. A lot of the guys that I'm thinking of while I say this, we love all of them. I think they call out a really important issue. Sometimes I worry that they don't have the solution.
Well, they pave the way for us.
Yes, but I do want to even say that, like, in my early content, I called out problems, but I never offered up a solution. If I did offer up a solution, it was a half-assed solution. So I think, I don't know where I was going with that, but...
Look, there's a lot of nuance to a lot of this. I think we're still trying to figure out, like, how do we measure sort of our natural instincts, the things that we know to be true about ourselves, like the fact that men just want to procreate, right? Like, men are horny all the time. More so
chocolates
than women.
are really good, by the way.
Like, more so than women. How do we sort of contend with...
Itchiest. I have a mosquito bite on my stomach.
Okay, well, who cares?
It's so itchy. I'm sorry.
How do we contend with all of these realities, like the fact that men get sexually bored, men like the idea of potentially having multiple partners, but they know they're supposed to stay with just one, and if they can stay close enough and bond enough, their testosterone will drop, they'll find meaning in their kids. Like, how do we contend with those challenges? How do we decide what is actually appropriate, what actually impacts us in a certain extent? Obviously, having a lot of sex with a lot of different people doesn't impact you in a positive way. Obviously, doing things like watching porn does not impact you in a positive way. A girl putting herself on Instagram and OnlyFans is, not going to impact you in a positive way. But how do we get down to the nitty-gritties of exactly what the repercussions are at each individual step? Because it would be great if there was a degree of freedom to some of this, but I just don't think there is if you want to satisfy your principles. I just had such a good
thought on ceiling fans that I'm going to save. Remind me to talk about it after, because we can talk about my thought next time if it's well thought out, because I think it'd be a little too controversial.
No worries. What are we getting into next?
Well, I have some other things on the roster.
Okay, what is it?
Like, we have birth control on the list. That's the only other topic I had, which a lot of people have probably already heard about my birth control story.
I mean, I'm just along for the saga at this point.
Yeah, so I got off birth control 2 months ago now.
Something like that.
Exactly 2 months ago. And it's been a wild ride. And we're doing a lot of learning along the way. It's been a freaking journey. Anything you want to say on birth control?
I mean...
Because you haven't really given your... What has your experience as a boyfriend been like with your girlfriend going off of birth control? Well,
I don't like the fact that you just keep calling yourself ugly all the time. Like, that's not fun.
I have felt so ugly.
But you're not. I will say it's very, very evident to me, if it's not to you, that you are a more emotionally present and emotionally expressive woman now. You never really used to cry. I've seen you cry multiple times now, not just for things that upset you, for like things that make you very happy. You're way more expressive. You seem to be very, very intense with your love for me when it comes out in those very, very like intimate, expressive moments.
Can you speak on why? What is she doing?
She's just making a bed for herself.
Can you speak on why you think it's important for men? Because I can't speak on this. Why you think it's important for men to be educated on birth control, for men to care about, if their girlfriend's on birth control, why should they care? Why should that be a topic that they're concerned about? And I don't know.
Well, we've touched on a lot of these in the past.
Because men don't know about birth control.
Right. Well, I still don't really know about birth control. I think for one, you don't want to be dating someone who just has artificial hormones in their system. Like we didn't.
Were you worried? Because we did a lot of research about birth control. That's why I came off of it. And one of the big things is that women typically get married while they're so they go on birth control young. I went on birth control at 17. My dermatologist prescribed it for acne. Clearly it didn't cure the acne, it just put a band-aid on it until I came off. So I had acne again. It's getting a little bit better. So then, typically the woman stays on birth control until she's married and ready to have her first kid. So I came off of it before. A reason that divorce rates have been are higher, one of the, I guess, reasons, it's been shown that women come off birth control and lose attraction to their husbands.
Based on pheromones.
Yeah, so they get married and then they come off and they realize they're not attracted to their husband anymore. So were you worried that I would lose attraction? That's why I think it's important for a woman, by the way, to get off of birth control before she gets married.
Yeah, well,
I think it's not the reason that divorce rates are so high, but I think it's definitely a reason.
Well, yeah. I think every guy needs to have his guard up to a certain extent to make sure he's retaining attraction. But yeah, it was definitely.
Can I have a chocolate covered pretzel?
It was definitely a concern that
was it like a big concern, or
that you could potentially not be attracted to me or vice versa? Yeah, it was definitely a concern. Doesn't appear to be taking place.
Yeah, we have one more month left until it's
stabilizes. Like I can certainly.
So we can fall out of love within the next 30 days.
Yes, get as many fucking episodes in while we can. No, I
know this is impacting the audio so bad, but these are so good.
I also think, some of the stuff that we've been talking about with regards to, passing the hormones, to men is something that, like, you had a video recently where you basically said you're taking her birth control if you're having sex with her, kissing her, taking her bodily fluids. That's a very, very devastating reality. So, it's a concern, but I also, I don't know why it never hit me. I guess just because of the normalcy of it all. Like, every girl's on birth control. You just never think to yourself, I just want a girl who's natural, who's being herself. It would be.
It's a big thing that they're preaching online now. Like Carnivore Aurelia, so we'll always post those Instagram things, like what to look for in a girl, like a girl that wears sundresses, and then a girl that's not on birth control is one of them. You know how he has like the funny one sometimes, but it's becoming a conversation that guys should seek girls that are not on birth control.
Yeah, probably for a pure health perspective, because I do think about artificial hormones. I think about guys who are older whose testosterone becomes catastrophically low. They go on testosterone replacement therapy. It pays these enormous dividends for them. They increase their bone density. They increase their muscle mass. They sleep better. They're less depressed. And now, how much does the presence of testosterone itself correlate to depression versus, you achieving to elevate your testosterone and the achievement itself making you less depressed? I don't really know. Again, like, we can get into the whole pathology and hormone stuff, but again, we are in sort of a turning right now where all of this crazy stuff, I mentioned hedonistic pleasure earlier, all of the things that are band-aids or like easily accessible things that give you instant gratification, instant relief, whatever it is. Like birth control is essentially long-lasting instant relief.
It's a Band-Aid.
But it's instant relief in the sense of, I know exactly when I'm going to get my period so I can prepare for it. Oh, like, I'm definitely not going to be getting a child. I am going
Well,
to.
that's the thing.
I'm not going to be getting acne. I'm not going to
You become so out of touch though with your body. Like I just knew the exact day I'd be getting my period every month. Like you become so mindless. Now I'm like on my toes every day. Like, oh shit, like maybe I could be getting it today. It's abnormal this month. You become so in touch with your body. So even though it's inconvenient.
You can also feel when you're ovulating.
Yeah, like the first month I came off, I was like, why am I having cramps in the middle of my cycle?
I was like, are you ovulating? And you were like, I don't think so.
And that's a crazy thing that like I did not feel that for 8 years.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I've always been.
I think it's a conversation that men should be interested in.
Look, it's the same. Look, they always say, or I shouldn't say they.
Just start to pay attention to.
Certain people have always said, why would you take a pill when you could just go to the gym, eat better, and sleep better? Why would you do that? And the thing is, like,
it's easier.
This is literally just another pill that solves a different problem.
It doesn't solve it. That's the thing.
Right. Well, right. It provides instant gratification / instant relief. So we are in this era of that. And I think there's going to be a turning where we start to arrive at the conclusion that, yet again, nothing is meant to be instantly gratifying. Nothing. So figure out your body. The natural. We talk about natural family planning. We just found out, and again, we're not doctors, so I'm sure that there's nuance to this.
Grain of salt.
But essentially, there's only like a couple of days out of the month where you can even get pregnant, right?
Well, let's say 5 to 6.
Right. That's 20% of the month. If you just avoid that 20% of the month,
Sperm lives in the body for, most people say 5. There's a couple of people who say 6 days. That's why I'm saying 5 to 6. There's only a 24-hour period where you ovulate.
Right.
So that's really the only time. But the sperm can live. That's why it's a 5 to 6 day window.
So you can be exceptionally safe in the sense that you either don't have, if you're not trying to get pregnant, you either don't have sex in that time period, or you have very safe sex in that time period, and you can even extend your very safe sex outside of.
The camera's sitting on one of the books, but I can there's actually stats that show even like, I don't want to, but the methods that we think are not safe are safer than we think if used properly.
Right. Call it 30% instead of 20%. Call it 30% of the month you practice either non or very safe sex, and then the other, it's have at it as if you were on the pill. Why is nobody taught that? How is that not the first thing you're taught in sex ed?
In sex ed, you're taught you can get pregnant every day.
Right. You can get pregnant, so you better wear a condom. No, you can only get pregnant during a very, very small window of the month.
And let's just take into account, people do have irregular periods, and I don't want to discount that. But a lot of these issues that women, I'm going to get shit on for this.
It doesn't matter.
A lot of the issues that women have, like horrible cramps, endometriosis, a lot of the reasons that they're put on the pill, that can be solved with the proper diet and proper lifestyle, and we are not taught that. That's why people like Dr. Patrick Flynn, Dr. Jolene Brighton, the one that wrote Beyond the Pill, these voices are so important because nobody wants to tell you that. Anywho, that's our birth control spiel.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll be talking.
There's going to be more to come on that.
There's going to be more to come. It's been, I think it's interesting to be documenting it as I'm coming off of it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about this one. Logan Paul.
Okay.
Let me try to explain this one.
Well, so he's got the upcoming boxing match, right?
It's really good. You should try one of those.
I'm good. I want.
I've eaten so much of this, and you haven't.
That's fine. I'm going to eat afterward.
I spent like $27 on that.
And it's going to be $27 or $13 well spent.
All right. Let's pull up. Sorry, guys. I had to take a pee break. I think I have a tight, like, hamstring.
You have a lot of tight parts of your body. Not like that. Get your mind out of the gutter. You complained about nerve pain in your back the other day.
All right. Logan Paul.
Old lady.
I actually have a pain going down in my knee right now.
Get that trapped.
I burped.
Nice.
I look so bad. So bad. All right. Okay. Why is Hannah Montana trending on Twitter?
Can we focus on Logan Paul?
Miley Cyrus might be doing the Super Bowl. So Logan Paul has an upcoming fight with Dillon Danis, D-A-N-I-S. Is that Dillon Danis? I'm not sure. Whatevs. So you know how they do that like crap talk? What is it called?
Shit talk?
Shit talk.
Trash talk?
Trash talk.
And anything but crap talk?
Crap talk. Before like the matches, boxing?
Yeah, it's hype. It's pre-match.
Yeah.
It's pre-fight hype.
But wait, there's more.
Okay.
So Logan Paul just got engaged to this girl, but like Logan Paul has a weird history, right? Like I saw this tweet earlier. I'm not really sure how true this is, but like Logan Paul effed his brother's ex-girlfriend, then started a business with his brother's enemy, then kicked his best friend off the podcast because his friend was religious, then married a whore. And in the middle of all this, he scammed his fans, which I know a decent amount of that is true. He like scammed somebody with like some coin or some shit.
It was an NFT.
He actually did.
It was an NFT project.
Did he actually fuck Jake's ex-girlfriend? I think he did.
Maybe.
I don't know. Whatevs. So Logan Paul has like a weird history, and he recently got engaged to this like beautiful girl, but now they're doing that trash talk stuff, and he has an upcoming fight, and this Dillon Danis guy started like spamming his own feed with pictures of, I think her name's Nina, and every guy in Hollywood.
Okay.
And let me show you these. Let me pull up Dillon's, what do we call it? Dillon's Twitter.
His ex.
Well, that's why I don't know what to call it. Okay. So, this is, I don't think that's a real photo. That's, I don't know, that's Dillon, whatever. Okay. It's crazy to think that Logan hasn't defended his girlfriend even once, except for trying to get my account deleted, sending me a cease and desist. I have to go on his show. Deep down, this man is a coward, right? So all this stuff is coming out. Like, what is this?
Dramas, and I just hate it when she would put that on me. So now when I'm 3,000 miles away, I always sleep nude. Sorry, Mom.
Okay, literally every hour he's posting stuff. This has been going on for days. Not sure who this guy is. Like, literally, it's been every dude. Just wait. Like, okay, here she is. Ariel, whatever. Like, who's this guy? Not sure.
Well, are these like movie scenes?
No, this is her engagement. That might be a movie scene, I don't know. But like, accurate.
Person so many lies and like showing up. Seriously. That's what we all should do here to get like Cosmo life.
I don't think it's gonna work for me.
There's difference between like slutty nibble and cute nibble.
Okay.
Don't come up with bull reasons. Like if you just like, I don't want to you anymore, say that. Don't come up.
This is not even, so like here's, we don't know who that is, another guy, right?
There it is, sex. Only thing better.
Okay, this was, I don't know who that is, right? Oh look, there's Joe Jonas. Okay, wait, but like, it doesn't end. I don't know what that was, I think that's fake. It doesn't end, it goes on and on. This was a caption. It just, wait. There's Leonardo DiCaprio. There he is again. Like, who's this guy?
Well, that's Stifler, right? So.
And bacon, a lot of bacon and sausage. And then we would go to a basketball game, and then he would cook me dinner again, like a good steak with a good sauce and some potatoes, maybe some green beans. And then after that, you know what happens.
Who's she talking about?
I don't know. Here's another guy. It doesn't end. That's Tana Mojo. It does not end. So then there was also a video of her talking about the engagement ring. Who's that guy? Oh, that's fake. But
okay, I get it. So he's blasting.
But wait, there's also this one. You got to tell me what you think of this.
This is the first time
because of the engagement, you've agreed to come on Impulsive.
I know. I needed that ring on my finger before going here, but it's here, so we're ready to go.
It's here, and
it's gorgeous. Did you take a look at it?
I've not even seen it
Okay,
yet.
do you want to take a look at it?
Yeah, can you just take it off your finger?
I don't know about that.
Jeff, where's Jeff at? No, because yeah. Who's stealing it? It's. I'll be honest, Nina. I'm very fucking proud of this ring.
It's gorgeous. Is there a fly around?
There was. It flew off.
There was. Okay. It's absolutely stunning and perfect, and you have outdone yourself. Like, this is everything I wanted and more. So
it's enormous.
Thanks, babe.
For this exchange.
How much did it cost? Oh. It doesn't have to be a ballpark. It could just be the exact number. I'm not going to say.
No, you can say 6 digits.
Well, that isn't indicative of how much it costs. I was debating on telling Nina, right? Like, do you tell you?
Isn't that a weird?
Well,
Isn't that weird?
Okay, so
I know it's a flex, but like, isn't that?
Well, just the whole vibe of that is a little bit. I try not to jump to too many freaking conclusions about this stuff.
Okay, but let's take it back. Let's take it back. What do you think Logan Paul is thinking right now? And what should he be thinking right now?
Well, so let me ask you. He's an incredibly popular, well-connected individual. Do you think he didn't know the story of this woman?
I don't think he knew how far it went.
The other thing that I'll say is,
they're digging up some old shit. This is not just like Google her name and this shit comes up. This guy, he has other photos that he's like, these are too bad to share. It would ruin everything. And apparently Tate just said, like, this is not a lie.
I mean, I think there are a lot of lessons in this story.
Do you think it's going to last?
Probably not. I mean, I'm just getting, just the vibe from that at all, where he's just sitting there being like, well, now that we're engaged, I'm glad you finally came on the podcast. It's like, really? Like, that's what got you on the podcast, so that you could show off the ring? That's a weird, like, why wouldn't you just come on? Like, imagine if I was like, hey, imagine I had a podcast and I was like, hey, I want you to come on. You were like, no, not until you put a ring on my finger.
And Tate just tweeted, I was trying very hard not to get involved in this, and I'm still staying out of it, but I opened my Twitter inbox, had a message from Dillon, and he's really not lying. So, has Tate been with her?
I mean, who knows?
Like, what would you be thinking if you were Logan Paul right now?
I'd probably be pretty embarrassed. Like, this is where men really need to be capable of standing on their principles. Because if...
Do you think he should leave her?
I mean, listen, I would...
It's not like she's cheating on him right now.
I wouldn't date a girl like that.
But what if he didn't know? What if you didn't know? What if he truly did not know? What should he do right now?
I can only imagine they've already just talked about it like crazy. She's probably made up the excuse, that one was not a big deal, that wasn't a big deal. No, I didn't really love him. Oh my God, I was just kidding when I was talking about that. No,
so
I didn't.
You think they're probably on the rocks right now?
100%. There's no way that it's not on the rocks. There's no way.
So do you think this warrants leaving somebody once you're engaged?
As a man, all you care about, I shouldn't say all you care about, but where you rank in the hierarchy is where your confidence stems from. Like the tier at which you're at. And Logan Paul has been at the top for the longest time at this point. People have tried to knock him down, but he still crushes. But now, like, the girl who's supposed to define you is now a source of shame for you. That's brutal. That's brutal, because now even the men who look up to you in the sense of how hard you work, how successful you are, will be like, yeah, but look at what it got him. Yeah, she's hot, but like, he's probably just next in line.
So do you think he should leave her if he's truly in love with her? I know this is a tough question to answer, but do you think that this warrants leaving your fiance if he truly didn't know about it? And what if she's totally dedicated to him?
But
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
But what does it mean to be totally dedicated to him?
This is her past. She I don't know.
Because a woman's past matters.
Let me just play devil's advocate and set up something that you can debate. I am totally in agreement with you here.
Okay.
But let's just say she left this in her past. She's a changed woman. They're engaged now. They're in love. He loves her. He's shocked that this all came out, which I'm sure he is. Does this warrant a breakup? Should they end the engagement just because he's embarrassed? Or should he be like, no, I love this woman for everything that she is. I don't give a crap what you think. And it's going to work out. What should he do right? What should he do? What is his next move? Does he make a statement? Like, what does he do?
It depends on what the circumstance is. If he was aware of basically all of this stuff and it just hadn't gone public yet, then yeah, he needs to stand by her. Because if he was only...
So if he was aware, he should stick with her. If he wasn't aware...
Then now it's not even a matter of should. It's a matter of, like, all of the data would suggest this ain't going to work out and you're just next.
Yeah.
And she's going to leave you. She's going to. She has gone from guy to guy to guy. How old is she?
I think maybe, I don't know, 30? I think she's around 30.
And she's been with how many different guys?
I don't know.
At that level?
I don't know.
She's almost certainly gone from, because she operates in a circle that is very Hollywood centric.
Yes.
So very obviously, it's people who know people who she then meets, who then she leaves that guy to go to this guy. It's monkey. It's classic.
Are
female.
girls like this master manipulators?
No. I don't even think she's trying to manipulate.
So what is she trying to do here? What is her ultimate goal?
No, I remember women are not. You're saying goal as if women are goal oriented. They're not. So
are women not goal oriented to like have a stable family? Do you think that's not her ultimate goal? I feel like women are hardwired to have that as their ultimate goal, even if they're trying to ignore it.
I think every woman wants children, but women are so in the moment with how they feel and what they want. Like, why was she engaged before this?
I don't know.
Well, guess what? If she's the age that you claim she is, which is what, 30-ish? Well, let's confirm
30.
that real quick, because her age will tell us a lot. Because if she's anywhere between the ages of like 28 to 31, then of course he's going to be the one where she decides, oh, it's time to get engaged because...
She's 31.
That is the ripe age to immediately think to yourself, well, this one's got to be the one that gives me a kid.
Here, let's see.
So no, it's not manipulation.
She's a model.
It's not manipulation.
She's a model. Okay. She briefly dated Joe Jonas, briefly dated Adam Levine, dated Max George, dated a real estate specialist.
We get it.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
We get it.
Jack Brinkley.
Don't need to go any further.
So it doesn't sound like she was engaged ever.
Nope, but now she finally found the guy who is willing to put a ring, who she wanted a ring on her finger. She wanted a ring on her finger. You know why? Because she wants a kid.
In 2014...
She thinks she's ready to settle down.
In 2014, which was 9 years ago, her and the guy she was dating made headlines for their raunchy public displays of affection. So I guess he did know about a certain extent of this.
And again, if it was one time, like raunchy display of affection, oh, like you had one ex that you had, a lot of physical desire for, cool. Like a guy can get past that if it's one person.
So there's no getting past it.
There's no way.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like I said, women aren't goal oriented. Are they wired to want certain things? Of course, but they're not goal oriented. She's just thinking in the moment right now, I feel like I want to settle down. And a year from now, she'll be like, I feel like I made a mistake.
I feel like I'm trapped.
Yeah, and then 6 months later, she'll be like, ooh, I feel like this is the guy that I should probably leave Logan for. Feel, fucking feel. Everything is feel with girls. They aren't thinking to themselves.
Ginny, come here.
Hey. They aren't thinking to themselves, what is the actual vision that I'm sticking to? Women don't work that way. they have an obligation to things, and children can be a great thing for women because in the moment is always keep your kid alive. That's a great thing to keep them doing something. But until they have a kid, she's going to be freaking out. She's going to be like, oh, do I really want to have a kid with him now? I thought I did, but now I feel like I want something different. This girl knows that she could go on to the next guy at any point. And what's funny is now that all of this stuff has come out, there's going to be a lot of guys waiting just to fuck her. So she better hope that this works out with Logan, because she's also ruined, completely ruined. Might as well just start a ceiling fans and just get the bag while you can, because I don't think there's any coming back from this, from either side.
Well, that's unfortunate. Wish them all the best.
Yeah, we'll see you at the wedding. Looking forward to getting our invite.
What should we end this on? Unfortunately, update to last week from Bama Rush. Morgan did not get a bid, so that's sad. But Bella Grace just went to Phi Pi or some shit today, so that's exciting. Good morning.
Oh, God.
Anything else we should touch on? I don't know if we're going to post this because you don't seem too happy with it.
No,
Our dog's drinking.
No, it's fine. Like, we're still going to post this.
We're just getting used to everything to do with podcasting.
Well, also, we have some of the craziest conversations at night that like about this stuff.
And then I
because
think
usually
when the camera comes on, it's a little weird.
Well,
for us.
but usually when we have these conversations, we're formulating our thoughts for the ideas we're going to script for our short videos.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to kind of give you guys insight into the way that we formulate these thoughts.
The reason we're doing it on our living room couch is like, this is where we have these conversations every night.
Yeah.
So we thought we should just turn on the camera for these conversations. But when a camera does come on, it does feel a little bit weird and stiff. So I feel like once we start doing this a few more times, it's going to become more natural. But yeah.
Yeah. So looking forward to continuing to put out more content. And it's only going to get better.
And our dog's
about to start squeaking a toy. So
I guess that's it. All right.
You want to make me a sandwich?
I'm not going to make you a sandwich. You're going to eat this chocolate. You just had dinner.
Ask
me
nicely.
Please. Anywho, please subscribe if you are still here. It means the world if you guys watch this all the way through. If you watched all the way through, leave a "What's up, my guys" in the comments, and we will see you probably once a week for now, maybe twice a week if we.
Yeah, we're going to try to pull off either Sunday or Monday recording.
Yeah. So. All right. Love you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Bye.